Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the time-space continuum. I am Astro Lunatic, your flight attendant on this journey through the planets and the stars and the asteroids. And I thought it would be a good time to give a little update and check out the astrology for today, Thursday, February 20th through Sunday. I used to do a weekly show giving the aspects. I used to do it, post it up on a Sunday uh, and just go over the weekly aspects, but I kind of got away from doing that. I'm going to try to get back into that, into the swing of things. And we have so much going on. I thought it would be cool to kind of check out what the hell is going on in the heavens and what is up your anus. So today we have the moon in Sagittarius, a lot lighter than the past few days with the moon moving through Scorpio. And here I'll be sharing my screen so that y'all can play along. Here we go. Yeah. So, moon in Sagittarius will have a last quarter waning square from the moon to the sun, coming off of the full moon about a week ago. Seems so long ago. And shocking and interesting movements and developments, or at least the hint of change in the air. So, moon in Sagittarius, square to the sun. It's definitely a turning point and possibly a day of action for some people. The numerology for today, by the way, is 4, February 20th, 2025. All reduces down to a 4, which is fairly stable. Think about four walls, four legs to a chair. Things are kind of stable, and maybe we feel like we've gotten enough footing to take action on something. At any rate, the last quarter square is sort of a nudge to say, all right, if you haven't done it, get to it. Just do it. As squares do, give us some friction, push us to action. And let's see, what did I see as far as asteroids? Well, the moon is conjunct asteroid Juno, which has been in Scorpio and has now moved into Sagittarius today, the partnership asteroid. So maybe having gone through some difficulties, psychological processing, tests of fidelity with Juno in Scorpio. If you're born with Juno in Scorpio, you definitely need somebody to go deep. You're probably not a stranger to the dark side, uh, and you need your partner to be also. Also, Scorpio having to do with sex and intimacy clearly would look for something that would be maybe more passionate, intimate, unless there's difficult aspects. Of course, But then that would be part of the challenge, finding someone that you could be intimate with, that you could trust. But Juno is in Sagittarius now, and it's conjunct the moon. So I think we're looking for a new kind of experience or a new beginning and something that will challenge us, challenge who we are, challenge our beliefs, uh, or align more with our beliefs. So let's see, what else do we have going on? The sun is in Pisces, as I said, and as far as the stars in that area, over the next couple of days, as the sun moves further into Pisces, the sun will conjunct one of the royal fixed stars and considered to be one of the four watchers, uh, four archangels of the four directions. Fomalhaut. I never know how to pronounce that. Fomalhaut. Fomalhut. Hot. Fomalhaut, which is in ancient astrology considered to be representative of Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel, watcher of the south. And now, as far as astrologically, the sun, yes, is in Pisces. This star is in the constellation Pisces Australis. I think it's the southern fish, which is not part of Pisces constellation. It's actually at the foot of the Aquarian water bearer. Uh, anyway, just thought I would note that. Interesting little tidbit. So what do we have? Also, we have Mercury square to Jupiter, Mercury in Pisces, square to Jupiter in Gemini. So Mercury rules Gemini. So we're talking about information in the mind and communication. Jupiter represents, I mean, it's the ruler of Sagittarius, where the moon is. And it definitely is trying to expand our awareness. So it'll be perhaps a little bit of confusing. It could be too much information. Um, but Mercury square to Jupiter is increasing and expanding communication and learning. However, this type of aspect can bring lies and embellishment in communication. So watch that because that'll come into play tomorrow, the 20, the 21st. So just try to understand first the aspect and then we'll talk about tomorrow. But um, you know, it could be a real mental scatterbrain kind of a day between today and tomorrow. A little restless and considering that Jupiter is also the ancient ruler of Pisces, we could consider this to be somewhat of a mutual reception. Um, I mean, at the very least, maybe we want to talk about our beliefs and our ideas and our philosophies, and maybe we want to look at more of the spiritual, non-physical, metaphysical side of life with Pisces, Mercury and Pisces there. So again, what else can we glean from this? We could also give caution to travel and the weather over the next couple of days. If it's not precipitation, it could be fog. And I was just discussing air travel and the copious amounts of accidents involving airplanes. And there was something that happened with a boat. In one of my posts last week when I was talking about Mercury going into Pisces, coming out of Aquarius, which rules the air, and having seen so many issues with airplanes, I thought, well, are we going to see things with water travel and ships, flooding? And sure enough, we did. I expect that to continue. So today, tomorrow, somewhere, there could be issues along those lines or news about it. So, what else do we have going on? Jupiter is conjunct asteroid AMOR in Gemini. I take that to mean there's many types of love, many ways to love. Uh, what is it in the Greek? Three types of love. And I'm thinking about the agape type of love. There's family love. I forget the names exactly. Romantic, intimate love. And there's love for mankind. And just a funny anecdote. I told myself I wasn't going to blabber too much. I was just going to keep it to astrology, but I think this is funny. So I'm tending bar one day, and I have one of my regular customers. We become friends and we're talking. And this guy comes in, I've never seen him. Seems like an eccentric oddball, not scary weirdo, but maybe an interesting weirdo. And we all start chatting. And I serve him a couple of drinks, and he's getting a little tipsy. I think this is appropriate for Pisces. So we get into this conversation, and it's interesting because the regular customer was never very talkative. Nice guy, interesting. I kind of wondered what he did for a living. I don't know. Who knows? But so we're talking, and maybe about after an hour and a couple of drinks, the new guy says, he just looks at me out of the blue, like the two of them are having a conversation. He just looks at me and he says, "Oh my God, I think I love you. I think I love you. I'm in love with you." And then he goes off on this tirade, like, my God, like Cupid's arrow just struck him in the heart. And it was funny. It was weird. And I said, he says, my point is, he says, "I love you." And I said, "I love you too," in an agape sort of way. And my regular customer just kind of chuckled, which was funny because I never got any kind of reaction from this guy. He was like totally stoic, deadpan, but this made him laugh. So I don't know why these weird things stick in my mind. So Amor, Jupiter conjunct Amor in Gemini, it's like kind of going back to the drawing board when it comes to love and looking at the many different types of love and our beliefs about love, Jupiter in Gemini, and wanting to talk about it. I had a discussion with a friend slash client as we were looking at the astrology today uh, about love and the illusion of love. So I guess that's fitting. What else do we have? Ooh, baby. It's really tomorrow that I want to get to because there's some interesting things happening. Guess that's it for the 20th for Thursday today, except Juno and the moon in Sagittarius are sextile to Pluto in Aquarius, and Pluto is conjunct Pallas, Athena. At, those are at 1 and 2 degrees of Aquarius. So Pluto is transformation. It's also control. And Pallas Athena is strategy. She is, Athena is the goddess of war, but she is Venus in her warlike phase. But Pallas has to do with pattern recognition and strategizing. So Pallas and Pluto sextile to the moon and Juno, perhaps learning about partnership, turning over a new leaf in terms of our belief about love and control issues, obsession. With Pallas there, we could definitely whip up a new strategy in terms of how to handle things like obsession, loss, fear of loss, social media, even. You know, in this day and age, people make friends that they never meet, but they become very close and intertwined with just through social media and the internet, and my friend slash client uh has been carrying on a romance with someone that, they met on Instagram. They fell in love. But is it love? Anyway, we can form new strategies on this day. Absolutely. There are new and interesting tactics and strategies taking place, especially in this waning moon. And I suspect that this is relating to when the moon is in Aquarius on the 25th and is conjunct Pluto and Pallas Athena. But that's far off in the future. Stick to today. So tomorrow, why do I say tomorrow is interesting? So tomorrow we have the moon in Sagittarius, and it will square to Mercury in Pisces. And Sagittarius is about the truth and gaining the higher perspective, looking at our beliefs and our philosophies, yes, but Mercury in Pisces is really murky. And the moon will be conjunct asteroid Lie. If you listened to my podcast yesterday, I was dipping my toe into the true crime astrology side of what I like to do. And I talked about a particular judge in a particular case. If it doesn't interest you, then just ignore it. But I did say I want to see where asteroid Lie is, because this is my question. Where is the lie? The lie will come up. Someone will lie. A lie will be exposed. Uh, we may have to lie. But we also have asteroid ASTRAEA at 14 degrees in Sagittarius. So there is a legal issue here. ASTRAEA is the goddess that when you see the the depiction of the goddess with the scales, and she's blindfolded, and we look at that as a representation of justice. Justice is blind, right? That's ASTRAEA. And she has the scales. And so, she's weighing the evidence, weighing the facts. And this is also a representative of the Egyptian goddess Ma'at, who weighs the souls of men in the scales, weighing them against a feather. So there is something going on here. And in regard to lawsuits and the justice system, I expect very interesting things to be coming out tomorrow. Now, Fridays are always a big news dump. Like save the bad news to Friday so we can recuperate and drink it off over the weekend, right? But there will be something interesting that comes out tomorrow. Moon conjunct Lie and asteroid ASTRAEA, uh, Mercury in Pisces also is conjunct asteroid OSIRIS. And when I think of Osiris, I think about how he was killed by his brother, and Isis collected the pieces and put him back together. Um, so for me, the overarching theme with Osiris is resurrection. So something is resurrected, something comes up from the depths of the psyche, of the collective consciousness. And the other thing we have going on in Sagittarius is that I think it'll happen overnight. Once the moon reaches about 19 degrees, the moon is going to conjunct another asteroid, Photographica. So I think there is some kind of picture that is circulating um, that shows, well, it is probably going to have to do with abuse because Saturn is at 19 Pisces and Saturn is conjunct Nessus. Nessus is one asteroid of abuse. It's the abuser, but it's also blood. The themes of this asteroid: blood, abuse, blood feuds. Um, we have an expression, the wearing the Nessus shirt, which is about uh, retribution and revenge and really taking down your opponent, even though it's gonna hurt you, right? It's like cutting off your nose to spite your face kind of thing. So with the moon, an asteroid Photo square to Saturn and Nessus, I'm I guess we'll have to see what comes up in the public eye. Of course, these things could be going on personally with us or people around us, and we don't hear about it, but there is some kind of a theme of, and I say a photo, I mean, considering we're dealing with a lie and it comes up around lie versus truth, and what are we seeing and who's saying what are we hearing, with the moon in Sagittarius conjunct lie square to Mercury early in the day, and then overnight it's the moon and Photographica square to Saturn, which is testing the limits and holding authorities accountable. Um, authority figures. And then the sun in Pisces has been going over asteroid, traveling with more or less asteroid Sappho, cheating, Damocles, the sword of Damocles hanging over your head, uh, the weight of responsibility of being in a position of power or waiting for that sword to drop or the other shoe to drop. And the sun uh, will be conjuncting asteroid Crantor, which can bring like really erratic behavior, bad behavior, also sudden endings. Crantor can bring sudden endings. And then at 5 and 6 Pisces, we have radio communicata, asteroid Child, and asteroid Cassandra. So Cassandra is to prophesy and not be believed. Cassandra is also anyone named Cassandra or Cassie. Radio communicata, that could be anything from, making a press statement or a social media post or texting someone or calling someone. Our radio communications are it there's a broad definition of that. And something regarding a child. Now, I did hear that Cassandra Ventura, the one who is front and center, really, the main um, plaintiff slash victim in the case against Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs, wasn't announced that she was pregnant. She is pregnant. And then I heard in the celebrity gossip columns that P. Diddy is losing his mind. But who knows? We should probably look at asteroid Didymus. Didymus is the twin, and Diddy, I call Didymus Diddy for short, and I've noticed that Didymus is corresponding to Diddy. I'm not sure where that is. I have to go look it up. But I don't think it doesn't relate to exactly to what I'm talking about right now, so I'm not going to stop. But Friday should be an interesting day. The numerology is a 5, so those are usually weird and chaotic, upsetting the apple cart. So moving on to Saturday, that is the 22nd. This is 6th day. We have the moon square to Neptune after having squared to Saturn overnight or late on Friday. So Saturday, the moon square to Neptune. There's a lot of confusion. And also during these times when there's aspects here to Neptune and the North Node, it's dredging up a lot of things and it's exposing a lot of things. Now, the moon on Saturday will be conjunct asteroid SPHINX. So, SPHINX is like a mystery, an enigma. I just talked about asteroid OSIRIS, so we're tapping into an Egyptian theme here with Osiris and talking about Ma'at, judging karma and the like. But Sphinx, very, very interesting. Now, some of the stars at the end here of Sagittarius are in the constellation of Scorpio, and they fall in the stinger of the scorpion, and they could be very vengeful. There's a lot of revenge. So, this could be somebody leaking a photo for revenge. This is like revenge porn or just spiteful things. And the moon is squaring the nodes. So There's a turn of events. There's a crossroads here. I think the gloves are off and the, whoever's in the fight is fighting dirty. That's it. We're not going to play nice anymore. You are hitting below the belt. Now, the moon in Sagittarius, as it's squaring Neptune and the North Node, it's also going to square asteroid Ophelia at 23 Pisces, Asclepius, which is healing. Ophelia is from the play Hamlet, and she represents female histrionics, suicide, drowning, uh, drowning literally or figuratively in water or emotion. And Pisces here, we have people who are drowning their sorrows, playing the victim. Life is over. I can't go on. There's a whole lot of drama going on now. Asclepius, that's a healing asteroid, and that has to do with the medical profession. So I'm wondering if there is something medical pharmaceutical. And at 25 degrees of Pisces, we have asteroid Psyche. So the moon is squaring Psyche, Asclepius, Ophelia. So emotional, psychological issues and how to heal them and where are they coming from. And SPHINX is part of the mystery. Now, being in Sagittarius, the moon and SPHINX, don't we rely on the media and public, publishing outlets, news outlets to give us a fair and balanced sort of picture of where things are at? So I really do think that there is also a lot of PR battles going on, lawsuits, a lot of what the headlines in the news is portraying is not accurate. And we need to learn about the PR spin, the PR mechanism and how it works. And I think, considering over the last couple of weeks, we saw what came out with um, major news outlets getting money from US aid. So there could be more revelation regarding that and stripping away the lies, going back and saying, actually, that was not true. Trying to get down to the bottom of it. So something is resurrected on Sunday, the 23rd, with Mercury conjunct Osiris at 15 degrees. The moon in Capricorn is going to square Venus, which will be conjunct asteroid Salacia. Now, Salacia is a goddess. She's a goddess of the sea. Salacia, we think of the sea, seawater, salt, but also it can mean salty, having a salty attitude and salacious gossip. So I expect more of that in terms of relationships, in terms of maybe some abuse that has been hidden is coming out. Maybe someone is filing restraining orders or civil lawsuits, divorce, and as a result, it's being put on public record what has happened. And there are photos to prove it because we talked about asteroid photographica on Friday. Just because you don't see it in the news doesn't mean it's not happening. You know, things get filed in court, and then it takes a little while for the documents to be made public. So it's possible we don't hear anything about this until Monday or Tuesday. If it's a public thing, or, if it's a political issue. Uh, but if it's personal, yeah, could be anything. Could be memories of something that happened or a pattern of abuse, of, using public opinion and gossip and spin and, the triangulation of narcissists. I should probably look at a few more asteroids because um, just want to see where things are. Let's see. Let's see. It's always good to check it out. Narcissus is at 24 degrees of Scorpio. That would be a sextile to Ophelia, Asclepius, and Psyche. This could be the unraveling of someone's narcissistic abuse and healing from that, or uncovering that pattern in the current day, or observing it if it's someone in the public. This could also be, I'm seeing anything when it comes to the last degrees of Sag and the last degrees of Pisces as being the cover up of abuse, systemic, um, specifically within churches and religious organizations. There's a case right now. A man has charges against him in Utah, and there is a proposed bill to change the law in Utah to make it specifically a harsher penalty, but the fact that they have to spell it out, but it's being proposed to be made a law that ritualistic abuse is a heavier penalty crime. And why? It can't be for any other reason but the fact that people are hiding the abuse that goes on in the LDS church and others, not just LDS, but this is in Utah, hotbed of LDS, FLDS, fundamental Latter-day Saints, but Mormons. Um, the fact that they have to make a law to specifically say if this abuse, child abuse, is ritual, that to me says that although it's not publicly talked about, it hides in Pisces. It is tolerated because it's part of their religion. It's part of their rituals. It's ritual abuse. And Sagittarius, religion, SPHINX, that's the mystery, right? Why can't we ever get down to the bottom of uh, the systemic abuse when it comes to religious organizations? Why? Because there's a religion underlying the religion and you don't know about it. It is the esoteric part of the exoteric, the public face of these religions, and it includes rituals that abuse children, women, men, but it starts at an early age. Okay, there, I said it. And so, how did we get here? But how did we get here? So, Narcissus at 24 degrees of Scorpio, sextiling or making a trine to Ophelia, who's drowning in this, as an adult, trying to heal from this abuse and trying to heal this psyche. But how can you when you have narcissists that create this narrative that structure the lies that, these people hide behind all of this? And why are they not prosecuted? Why do we not talk about these things? Why do they plead guilty to lesser charges and then don't do any jail time? Why? Because it's a big club and you ain't in it or you don't want to be in it. It's guilty by association. It's I have to cover these crimes as a judge, as law enforcement, as a um, someone in position of power in a religious organization because they're compromised too. They're compromised too. It's just the way it works. So there's blackmail. I mean, there's a photo of someone's abuse. Perhaps it's being used as blackmail, and perhaps the person who's being blackmailed is like, you know what? I got nothing to lose. Do your worst. That's me speculating. But by Sunday, there could be some salaciousness happening. The moon will be in Capricorn, so I expect someone of in a position of government or power or a father figure um, with the moon in Capricorn. It is square to Venus and Salacia. So there's something gossipy going on with relationships, maybe about a female, maybe. Mercury is sextile to Mars from Pisces and coming towards Saturn, converging. So Mars could be hanging over someone's head, the threat of violence, the threat of, I'm going to leak this if you don't go along. Um, so the 23rd, yeah, then the 24th by Monday, the moon will still be in Capricorn. It's going to oppose Mars. I expect some kind of really dirty fight coming. That's the day that Mars goes direct, the 23rd into the 24th. Mars goes direct. The heat of battle is intense. Also, because Mercury is coming towards Saturn, that's a reckoning, and that's having to face the consequences of perhaps some passive aggressive behavior with Mars in Cancer being retrograde. It's like, God, at the very least, it's time to be responsible and move forward and perhaps just soldier on and nose to the grindstone, get to work, coming to some sense of maturity, hopefully. I should probably look at the asteroids in Capricorn. So Sunday, right. So what I was saying, Saturday, moon conjunct Sphinx, and then moon will enter Capricorn late. late in the day on the 22nd on Saturday. So once it enters Capricorn, we've got asteroid Hybris, Hybris. Hybris, I think hubris has to do with hubris in Capricorn at 1 to 2 degrees. Apollo at 2 degrees Capricorn. Salvia at 4 degrees. Ixion at 7. So watching out for hubris. Apollo is Jupiter, is another name for Jupiter. I would look for authority figures, people in the public eye. Salvia, trying to salvage, looking for a savior. And Ixion, well, one thing Ixion can represent is a second chance. It also represents hubris in terms of not respecting your benefactor. It's also about going after what is not yours, including other people's OPP, other people's property. So it does have to do with seducing someone else's partner. So we do have Sappho in play. There's cheating. There's but there's second chances here for somebody. And maybe, Ixion is about the wheel of Tartarus and going around. It's about the wheel of karma and cause and effect and punishment for not having integrity and respect. So it's not all bad. It can be good. And let's see. So later on the 23rd, we've got the moon going over asteroid. Oh, it's not an asteroid. It's a Uranian body, but Cupido, that's about love and flirty. Higher love versus humanly love, or love for what reason? Quaoar, I don't really get into, I have to really research that one. I don't really use it. Phallus and DNA. Phallus, I always think of that as being sort of volcanic. Let me look up what if I can find Greek mythology, centaur, friend of Heracles, lived in a cave. Phallus. Hmm. All the centaurs sort of deal with our upper and lower human nature versus any kind of has to do with human desires and foibles. But DNA, that's interesting. 11 Capricorn, DNA, square to Venus, paternity test. I see a paternity test. Because Venus is stationing to go retrograde, y'all. Let me see when that happens. Venus is going to go retrograde on the 10th degree of Aries. So if you have anything, that degree. So she stations and she's going to stick around in that position until March 1st into the 2nd. It's either the 1st or the 2nd. She goes retrograde at 10 degrees. By that time, the moon is going to conjunct Venus in Aries. And DNA will have moved forward a little bit by then. So we'll see. DNA could be squaring Chiron by then. So there is something about DNA, whether it's in a legal case, a paternity case, or us thinking about what do we carry in our DNA and what things are affecting our DNA, you know? Aries is meat. Aries and Mars, that's meat. And I heard that there's stuff going on with meat. Makes me very uncomfortable that have to do with sharp objects. And Mars and Cancer, that's the food supply. I think you know where I'm going with this. Heads up. Okie doke. That does it for me for today. As always, you know where to find me, Astro Lunachick on Twitter X and YouTube. You can find me both places. You can look for me. You can look for me on Facebook, but no one ever goes to that Facebook page. So anyway, yeah, if you are interested in booking a reading, you can send me a direct message on Twitter, uh, or you can email me at astrolunatic@gmail.com. Great time to have a reading is during the eclipses and retrogrades. If you find that you're heavily affected by Mercury retrogrades, or you want to know where the eclipses are falling in your chart, fantastic time to check in because although they happen every 6 months, we did just have the nodes change sign. They've been in Aries and Libra for about a year and a half, 18 months, and just recently changed from Aries Libra to Pisces Virgo. So we're dealing with different things. And it's always good to know where the eclipses are happening in your chart so you know how to prepare. You know where you're going to be having your big endings, big changes, new beginnings, where your focus is going to be for the next 6 months from March until September when we have the next set of eclipses. It's always good timing to have a checkup like that. And so you can contact me, let me know what you're looking for. You know, if it's even something small as a one question mini reading, that's cool. It's whatever you want. If you want to know when to color your hair, when you should travel, I get a lot of questions like that. Look at this guy's chart. Is he a psycho? When should I file this lawsuit? That kind of thing. I mean, those are simple things. So, you know, anything you're looking for, you can let me know. We can chat about it and we'll set something up for you. But in the meantime, expect more true crime and forensic type charts because that anti-bev, the anti-bev chart that I did yesterday has kind of got me going. So if you have a suggestion of a very interesting case, missing person, uh, court case, true crime, whatever that you want me to look at, throw it down in the comments there. You can send me a direct message if you don't want anybody to see it. It's fine. Or just comment down below and I'll see what I can whip up together. So, yes, so that's what we have for the next 3 days from now until Sunday. It's good to know what the weekend's going to be like. Sagittarius, I think probably have some kind of It's probably good for sports, but I'm not into sports. I'm sports illiterate personally. So I don't acknowledge sports. If uh if I had to go to a Super Bowl party or something like that, I'd be the one bringing wings. I'd be making food. That's all I care about. I care about food and the friends. So, yeah, very interesting days ahead. Okay, so I probably will do a show. I'm going to try to record something on Sunday and make it for, the week ahead, Monday through the next Sunday. I'm going to try and get back into my groove, Stella. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, and more true crime stuff and public figures, celebrities, people that we like to make a mockery of or an example of. Celebrities, public figures are really fantastic for learning astrology because we can gauge what's going on, in their lives because they're so public, and then look at their charts, try to figure it all out. Okay, so that's it for now. Until next time, have a great weekend and ciao for now.